Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's time for another installment about the wolves. This story is called Howl of the Silver Wolf. If you want to follow all the stories of Cory the Silver Wolf and his mate, Lucas, in order, I've created a playlist, or you can see the list in the description below. Early January, 2 days after the full moon, the five of us, Paola the jumper, Edmund the leader, Gavin the crazy, Jack the tracker, and me, the Silver Wolf, stood in the old warehouse amid piles of clutter and garbage. A radio had some people talking about the basketball season. The air smelled of blood and excrement and rotted wood. The light came from a fire in the middle of the floor. We had tracked the wolves trespassing on our territory. They attacked and bit Mark, an innocent clown from a circus, who happened to be performing in the wrong place at the wrong time. Edmund's mate, Steph, spent all night and all day using her crystal healing skills to try and balance the man's aura so he'd return to some form of normalcy. Except during the full moon. There is no cure for the full moon. Around the fire crouched another moon-crazed werewolf, a man in his mid-40s with too many teeth, silver eyes, and his left eye was twice the size of his right. Behind him stood an older man, maybe 60, with an odd white acid patch on his forehead. Behind both men hid a younger man who wore an odd pair of glasses with one cracked lens. He kept looking at the floor and rubbing his arm. All three had similar faces. Maybe 3 generations of the same family? The youngest reeked of stale sweat and fear and clothes worn too long. His hands shook, but his eyes held traces of silver. A new wolf. He probably didn't know what had happened. The old man had the dead black eyes of a shark and slightly extended canine teeth. He was a wolf addicted to the moon's power. The middle-aged man smiled in spite of the extra teeth piercing his lip. His hair was a matted and greasy mess stained with dried blood. He smelled of smoke and blood and the sharp twang of an unwashed animal. 2 dead bodies and an injured man lay around the fire. The injured man moved a little. The claw marks were deep and covered his forearms and chest. Defensive wounds. The silver wolf inside me growled. It was filled with hatred and disgust. Jack had tracked 3 wolves to this abandoned warehouse. I think we found them. A mate radiated a certain kindness, a peace, something gentle. Lucas was mine. None of the 3 standing had that kind of aura. No, these trespassers were a new wolf, a berserker wolf, and an old cunning wolf. This will be fun, the middle-aged man howled. His body shifted and stretched, his jaw and nose elongated, and fur grew across his skin. He changed into a dirty gray wolf with black leprous patches. His mouth overflowed with at least 100 sharp canine teeth. They jutted out at every angle, even through lip and cheek. His silver glowing eyes lit his face like LED bulbs. A little black blood trickled down his wolf muzzle, especially where the teeth had penetrated flesh. "You are in our territory," Edmund snarled. "You have hunted and killed and bitten. You have the cops tracking you and have made so much noise it could bring the hunters. You will leave immediately." The leprous wolf growled. Its face was lopsided. One eye was double the size of the other, even in wolf form, and its muzzle distorted. The older man placed a hand on the leprous wolf. "Easy, Easton. We like this city. We're staying. If you don't like us, then you leave." "That's not right, Grandpa. We should leave," the younger man said. The older man whirled and backhanded the younger. His glasses flew from his head and landed among the bodies. "Camden, you will not show weakness," the older man said. "For once, be as strong as your father." "Sorry, sir," the younger man said, holding his cheek and backing away. "I guess your grandson got the brains in the family," Edmund said. 5-3. Leave this city before we throw you out." The leprous wolf paced in front of us, eyeing Paola. It licked its lips, or tried to through the teeth, but only succeeded in cutting his tongue. The brackish blood leaked down his jaw. "Look at you," the older man said. "I bet you have mates. When we kill you, we'll find your lair and claim your mates as ours." At a nod from Edmund, Gavin took up the tranquilizer gun and made sure it was loaded. Jack and Paola were already in wolf form. Any wolf would have a tough time catching either one of them. "This is our territory now," the older man said. "None of you can stop my boy." "Edmund," I said, "there were no reports of missing people. Salvador's friends would have told us." "Meaning?" he asked. "Assuming this is a tribe, they killed their own," I said. "That's more reason to get them out of here," Edmund said. "This is your last chance. Get out of our territory." "Grandpa, let's go," Camden said, placing a hand on his grandfather's shoulder. "Your weakness disgusts me," the older man said, shrugging the hand off. "If you want to run away, then get out of my sight." The grandson ran to a ladder and climbed to the roof hatch. The roof hatch squealed as he opened it, and let some of the clean night air inside the foulness around us. "Edmund, should we go after him?" I asked. "No," Edmund said. "Let him go. Jack can track him later." The leprous wolf jumped. Bloody foam swirled around its teeth. It made the mistake of leaping at Jack, the smallest wolf in our tribe, and, theoretically, the weakest. Don't tell Jack that. Jack jumped out of the way, almost laughing. Paola headbutted the beast. It whirled. Its insane mouth bit her shoulder and drew blood. Jack darted to the back of the wolf and nipped at his legs. The leprous wolf lunged after Jack, leaving Paola alone for a second. "Cory," Edmund said, shedding clothes and transforming into the large black wolf. I'm getting really good at destroying my clothes. I let the silver wolf out. My transformation always seemed to take longer, maybe twice as long as the others. I let the hated silver flow through me. My bones cracked, my muscles stretched and reformed. The silver fur grew on my body. For a second, my vision blurred as my eyes readjusted to their new position. I grew taller and looked down on the leprous wolf. The leprous wolf had a silver aura. It wasn't even the full moon. Jack, Paola, and Edmund didn't have a silver aura. Even Gavin didn't radiate silver. The only time they did was on the full moon, and only their eyes shone silver, and only when they transformed. This man did. He was moon-infested. By choice, I bet. A strong opponent. I lowered my head and gave an evil growl. Not at the leprous wolf. The leprous wolf wasn't the only person with moon silver leaking from its body. The older man did too. His soul radiated the hated moon. Also by choice, I bet. His wolf was stronger than the others. The man growled, cracked his neck. We locked eyes. His eyes turned silver. He shifted, a smooth transformation that spoke of years of practice. A wolf with dark, almost charcoal fur, with a birthmark on his forehead. A smooth, sleek coat that shimmered in the firelight. His eyes remained silver even after the transformation. So did mine, but that's because I can't control it. He had sold his soul to the moon. The man had surrendered to the wolf and didn't even pretend to fight it. Was this a modern-day berserker? This man had passed his curse to his son, and then his grandson had inherited it. The grandson had recently changed. Only Jack could fully control the moon. But neither of these men cared to. Maybe the silver wolf did have gifts of Fenrir, rage, and insight. I curled my lip back and showed my finger-long teeth. I growled and walked to the smaller wolf. I know my eyes blazed silver, brighter than his, because the moon is too strong in me. A yelp behind me. Jack's, I think. The trank gun went off. Another yelp. I had learned my lesson when the silver wolf challenged Steph and lost. Steph was an ally I could trust. Losing was the smart choice. This man was not a friend. I dared not break eye contact. The silver wolf could be patient when it hunted. It treated this as another hunt. I walked toward the other wolf, growling, never looking away. The silver wolf was not patient tonight. I stood before the other wolf, nose to nose. The older wolf growled, also not breaking eye contact. It didn't move. Time to win this. I lunged, grabbed its throat in my jaws, and threw the beast, drawing a bloody welt on its throat. First blood was mine. The charcoal wolf landed among the bodies. It growled deep and terrible. He took to his feet, snarling, and leaped at me. I ran toward it, jaws open, ready to attack again. It reared up, trying to claw me. I went to bite it. It ducked and clawed my shoulder. It jumped back. This wolf was as fast as Jack. It lunged in for another attack, claws outstretched, jaws open. I battered its claws away, raking my claws across its belly. Second blood was mine. This wolf might be fast and tough, but the silver wolf was tougher. The charcoal wolf feinted to the right, then darted at the last second to the left. It bit me, but it only got a mouthful of fur. Big mistake. My thick silver fur slowed it down enough for me to shove the wolf to the side and grab its neck with my jaws. I threw him again, and he landed in the fire. Wolves have two weaknesses, silver weapons and fire. I ran to the fire, ready to grab the wolf and throw him again. The sleek charcoal wolf ran from me. It could not escape. I barked, low and filled with hatred, and ran after it. There were only two ways into this building, the roof hatch above or an enlarged crack behind the dumpster. I had walked the entire building twice. All doors were locked. All windows were barred. The wolf dove into a lower area, away from the loading dock. I ran up to it, in time to see the wolf disappear into an access tunnel. Maybe a sewer, maybe a maintenance tunnel. It didn't matter, because it was big enough for my prey to escape, but it was not big enough for the silver wolf. Like that would stop me. I ran back the way I came. The moon-crazed wolf still fought. Edmund had a nasty gash in his side. Paola lay on the floor, whimpering. Jack danced to the left. Gavin hadn't shifted, but fired another trank. We didn't have time for this. At full speed, I plowed into the wolf with all the teeth and slammed him against the wall. Something cracked. A rib, maybe? I growled and bared my silver teeth. Panic flooded the crazed wolf's eyes. I don't think it had ever faced an opponent like the silver wolf. I growled again, my meaning clear. Either he surrendered, or I would force him to. He tried to stare at me. I glared back. It whimpered and lowered its head. He had given up. "Cory, we've got it from here," Gavin said. I made the mistake of taking my paws off of him. It lunged up, straight at Jack. This time, Jack wasn't fast enough. Its insane mouth grabbed Jack's foreleg and bit. Jack screamed. Edmund tore into the leprous wolf, forcing it away from Jack. He had hurt my friend. I lowered my head, letting my silver eyes blaze my fury. My gift of Fenrir. I shifted to human, the strength of the silver wolf flowing through me. "Cory," Gavin said. The leprous wolf tried to run. I grabbed it and held it up, belly facing Gavin. Gavin fired the trank gun. The trank hit. 10 seconds later, the wolf relaxed and slept and shifted back to human. "Take care of Jack. I'm going after the grandfather," I said. I shifted back to the silver wolf and ran for the crack, ran through it, and pushed the dumpster out of the way. I took a breath of the crisp, clean night air. My prey would not escape. I might not have Jack's senses, but with the silver leaking from the other wolf, I didn't need them. The old werewolf had taken a sewer pipe or maintenance tunnel, and it led to the next abandoned warehouse. Except it wasn't abandoned. Several cars surrounded this one. Several men stood guard as well. They smelled faintly of gunpowder and steel. They were armed. A dozen heartbeats thumped, then sped up. Somebody had just panicked. The old wolf had gone inside. The loading door dock was open. They were getting a shipment ready. But this late at night? It had an odd chemical stench I didn't recognize. 2 guys stood on watch. Light glinted off of gunmetal gray weapons stashed in their waistbands. Whatever this was, I bet it was illegal. A drug lab? A meth lab? Counterfeiting? That didn't matter. A werewolf would tear them apart. It was up to the silver wolf to save their lives. I charged past the guys on the loading dock, knocking them sideways. Once inside, I followed the silver trace. It leaked from this wolf almost like a full moon on 4 legs. Somebody screamed when they saw me. Others did too. I ran past. Guns popped. Shells hit me. Idiots. They used regular bullets. Don't they know that it takes silver to harm a wolf? One man made the mistake of facing me. I growled and charged him. His bullets didn't mean a thing. He fell back, screaming, his gun firing. His bullets couldn't hurt me, but they could hurt the lights. This part of the warehouse went dark. For them. One of the few gifts a werewolf possesses. I see equally well in the dark as in the light. The charcoal wolf with the white stripe on its forehead had exited the tunnel and stood over a woman. The silver had left his eyes. He had calmed down. Not mine. I saw my reflection in the charcoal wolf's eyes. The charcoal wolf smelled of stale sweat, old cigarettes, and animal dander. I howled. A wolf's howl carried for a mile, maybe more. Try amplifying that cry with the throat of a werewolf. It carried further. Dogs barked ferociously, guarding their territory. Try amplifying that howl with all the hatred and fury of the silver wolf. Every animal screamed and howled. Birds cackled and squawked. Cats hissed and howled. The rats in the walls chittered and screeched. They all ran away from me, or hid, from that terrible sound, from the silver, from the moon inside me. The silver wolf is not a nice wolf. Most of the people inside the warehouse ran. The charcoal wolf stepped back. Its victim scrambled to hands and knees and crawled away. The few men left in the warehouse tried shooting again. Humans can be so stupid. I ignored them. So did the charcoal wolf. We circled each other, growling. He lunged at me in one last attempt to do any damage. I turned my shoulder, and shoulder butted him to the side. One of the men tried shooting us. I growled at him, letting the silver in my eyes terrify him. He shot and shot and shot until he had emptied his gun. One of the bullets hit something on a table. It sparked. Something exploded. The man screamed and ran. Both me and the charcoal wolf looked. Whatever these men had been cooking was burning. The smoke was harsh and acidic. The men ran for the nearest door. So did me and the charcoal wolf. Fire could hurt a wolf. The warehouse exploded. I burst through a window. So what if it was barred? The charcoal wolf paid no attention to me, but ran into the night. The exploding building sent debris onto the surrounding buildings, including the one my new family was inside. My tribe had heard the noise and were leaving with an unconscious man with too many teeth and the surviving victim. We had won. Edmund shifted to human and said, "Cory, your shoulder." I shifted and staggered. I crawled inside the warehouse, found the remains of my clothes and the 2 pieces of obsidian Steph had given me. I grabbed it all and crawled back out. The man who was the moon-crazed wolf remained unconscious. He still had too many teeth. I took the obsidian and knelt next to the silver-poisoned man and laid the stones on him. Another explosion rocked the other warehouse. "Stay away from my dad," Cam yelled at us. I'll show you. Cam ripped through his clothes, his transformation clumsy. He screamed, his hands forming fists, then paws. His scream became a weak howl. He became a wolf about the size of Gavin's wolf. A young wolf who could barely maintain form. "Submit," I yelled. "Lower your head." The younger wolf growled and stepped between me and his father. I shifted to the silver wolf and locked eyes with the young wolf. "Go easy," Jack said, holding his arm, his face screwed up with pain. His scent was on Mark. This is the wolf that attacked him. This was the wolf that bit Mark? His tribe should have known better than to let this punk free on the full moon, Gavin said. The silver wolf howled, and just like before, every animal in range howled and barked in terror. The other wolf stepped away from me. Gavin took aim. At me. I stepped up to the young wolf, growling. Camden tried to growl back. I seized his neck between my jaws and threw him against the wall. He went down, and I stood on him. I locked my silver eyes on his, and he whimpered. "Submit," Edmund said, kneeling next to us. His eyes blazing silver, the young wolf shifted to human, crying, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to attack anyone." Sirens yelled in the distance, and smoke polluted the air. "We need to get out of here," Gavin asked. "Jack and Gavin, you're with me. Paola, keep watch and make sure these 2 leave the city. Cory, track the grandfather and make sure he's gone as well," Edmund said. Paola picked up one of the obsidian stones and brought it to Camden. He clutched it as his eyes returned to normal. "What about their victim?" Jack said. "He wasn't bitten, only claw marks," Gavin said. "What do we do?" "We have no choice. We have to leave him for the police and paramedics," Edmund said. "We have our own wounded to worry about." "You can't leave me and my dad here. Help us," Camden pleaded. Edmund turned to Camden and Easton. "If you had come as friends, we would have welcomed you. But you've killed 2 in the warehouse and 1 in the park, attacked at least 3 and put them in the hospital, and bitten an innocent. You've rampaged throughout my city. Worse, your family has injured my tribe. I won't let you stay in my territory. Do not return. Gavin, get Jack to the SUV. Cory, Paola, we've got your gear. As soon as these people are out of the city, get back to the compound." The other warehouse exploded upwards. A sharp chemical smoke filled the air. "Go, people. You've got your assignments," Edmund yelled. Easton was still down and unconscious. The obsidian, though only on him for a short time, had already begun its work, absorbing the moon poison in his system. Several of the extra teeth had retracted. Paola disappeared into the shadows. Edmund vanished, and Gavin hurried Jack away. Only Cam and Easton remained. "Help us," Camden said. I nodded at my bleeding shoulder and said, "Like you helped us? You heard Edmund. Get out of here and do not come back." "Please, you don't know what it's like living on the road all the time," Camden said. "We don't know who to trust. We don't know who's hunting us." "What about the police? They're coming. Please, help us." "What you did to Mark happened to me," I said. "That wolf's name is Wesley. And if I ever find him, the silver wolf will have its revenge. I'd worry if I were you, because I'll make sure Mark knows it was you who bit him. I changed to the silver wolf and left them on the ground and tracked the grandfather. There was only one problem with Edmund's plan. The grandfather was heading to the edge of the city, all right, but the wrong edge. He must be tracking our SUV somehow, because he headed in the direction of the compound. Lucas was there, defenseless. My stomach felt sick. Without a phone or money, I had no way to let him know of the danger approaching. The silver wolf isn't as fast as Jack or Paola, but it is tireless. I ran, even though I knew I would not be in time. Thank you for listening, my friends. We'll see you next time. Peace.